Hoy tenemos un video muy diferente a lo usual. Es una entrevista con el mismísimo SALEHE BEMBURY. Para los que no lo conozcan, es un diseñador industrial que ha pasado por marcas como YEEZY, estuvo como director de calzado en Versace y hoy en día colabora con New Balance, Puma, Crocs. Vimos colecciones con Moncler, Clarks, Vans y más. Para mí es uno de los mejores diseñadores actuales, es de mis favoritos, tiene una estética muy peculiar y única, además de una manera muy cool de vestirse. Y hoy vamos a hablar de absolutamente todo, que no solo eso, muy pronto va a lanzar su nuevo libro llamado I Make Shoes, Yo hago calzado en español, que se va a lanzar en todas partes, vamos a poder comprarlo desde México. Es un gran placer para mí darle la bienvenida a Salehe Bembury. Hey Salehe, how you doing? Welcome to the show. It's really nice to have you here. It's a pleasure. I wanted to ask you first about your book because you're launching it soon. It's called I Make Shoes. So why a book? Is this an extension of your resume and what we can find in this book?
So first, I want to say thank you for having me. A little history for the audience. Your podcast and your internet content is something that I have observed from afar for a while. And what's fascinating is that we don't speak the same language. So the fact that I've been able to still identify the passion and the curiosity that you have for sneaker culture without understanding the words that you're saying, I think is special. And that's why I wanted to come on and have this conversation. So thank you for having me first and foremost. And I'm glad you speak English so we can have the conversation. So to answer your question, the book that's published by Rizzoli and designed by PlayLab is a 15-year retrospective of my work. That's in chronological order. And so selfishly, it's a display of the last 15 years of the good, the bad, the samples, the sketches, the moments. And then unselfishly, I believe that this book can be a design Bible for young designers trying to figure out their path and how to inject themselves into the professional space or how to put themselves out there or how to evolve their work or better document their process. I believe all of those things are indirectly in the book. So I think it's going to, apply to a large audience of people that have a very specific interest. And unfortunately, for this space of sneakers and streetwear, there aren't too many books that I believe honor this very beautiful practice and interest, and I agree. And I want to know that this book will be one of those books that's cherished by this community. So I'm really excited for it to release.
Nice. That's really great. What was it like to revisit your past, to contemplate your journey, and also put it all on paper, on a book?
So a saying that we have in English is hindsight is 2020. I think, having the ability to look back on those moments with different perspective, new knowledge, new experiences is really a gift because I wasn't in that mental space when I was in those earlier moments in my career. It was really about making a paycheck, learning, hoping that someone noticed me, and at the very best, maybe someone's wearing my shoes, like, woo, right? But then getting to look back on those moments, I'm now able to analyze maybe vulnerability or fear or moments where I was receiving a lot more education than I realized that I was, or even obstacles or allies that presented themselves along the way and how I was able to work with them or not work with them. And so the book almost comes from two different lenses of like, hey, this was me in 2012 and this is what I looked like and this is what I was doing. But then I'm also coming from a perspective of this is my perspective from 2025 as a 39-year-old adult and how I'm able to look back on that period in my career and the tools that it gave me.
All right. Yeah. The thing that I like most about you is that you have like a particular way of dressing and designing. I think that is really unique. And when you told me that you saw my content, but you don't understand the words, but you understand something about it.
The feeling.
I feel like you're one of the most unique designers right now. So having this book about your trajectory, about everything that you did on your career, I think is important. One of the books that I cherish a lot is the one about Hiroshi Fujiwara and Fragment, about
Mhm.
all his collabs. And I
Yeah.
think having a book about you and your work, it's really inspiring, because what you have done in industrial design and product, it's really great.
Thank you. Thank you. And I've really had my head down for the last 15 years working. So it's nice to finally look up for a second and enjoy this moment and finally show the world what it is I've been doing for the last 15 years. I feel
Yeah,
like most people that are familiar with myself or my career, they know me for one or two things. So they know me as the Croc guy or the Yeezy guy.
yeah.
But this book is everything. And even people that I am close with have been surprised by some of the projects that are in the book. So I think that's also selfishly what I'm going to appreciate about this moment is that there's going to be a mass education of what I've been doing for the last decade and a half.
For sure. And I wanted to ask you, when is this book releasing and where we can find it?
So it releases October 14th.
All right.
It's a global release. If Rizzoli books are available in Mexico, I believe that they're everywhere.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're and if they're not, I would be very surprised if they weren't available in physical stores in Mexico. And if they're not available in physical stores, you can for sure get them online. I can send you a link after this, or maybe we can even like put it right here. But but
Awesome. 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 Okay. Thank you.
there's easily like 30 online retailers as well as many physical stores. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Rizzoli as a publisher, but they're
Yeah.
top of the line, and I promise you, your audience and yourself will be able to find the book.
Great. Awesome. And you said a few minutes ago that in your career, money has played a big role, because we work for money because we need it, right? So
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, what role has money played in your career, and
Mhm.
what did you did as a creative when it was scarce in Latin America? Specifically, it's really hard to create. It's really hard for creatives to keep going without cash. So what motivates you to keep creating, and also how did you deal with money?
hmm in the beginning, after graduating school, money simply represented the ability to have a roof or food.
For sure. Yeah.
So where I got a job didn't really matter as much because I needed a paycheck.
Yes.
And so, the harder you work, the more experience you have. Hopefully, the plan is to move up. You get a slightly better job. Hopefully, they pay you a little bit more. So I've
Yes.
kind of seen my career that way as a ladder of every job that I've gotten has been just a little bit more money. And maybe at some point that money went from representing an ability to eat and have a roof over my head to now giving me more safety and security. And I think
Yes.
it's amazing that, what I do for a living is something that I used to run home from school, neglect my homework, and neglect a lot of other things to draw shoes. And
Yeah.
now I get paid to do it. So that in itself is a very surreal concept. And
Yes.
and so I'm really happy that in some cases I'm paid well, in other cases maybe not so much, but just to receive money to do my passion is a really insane concept. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, for sure. I think the best thing we can do as creatives is do what we are passionate about, and um, creating shoes must be a really great thing for you, because you always love this. You always have been into sneakers. So what does this means to you in every day? Do you reflect on it?
I feel like I'm always juggling so much and moving so fast. I don't always get to appreciate the present. I
Yeah.
think it takes friends of mine stopping me and sitting me down and getting me to acknowledge that that's when I get to appreciate. I
Yeah.
recently had a friend tell me a really obvious statement. He was like, "Do you realize that you became a footwear designer because you wanted to design basketball shoes?" And then he was like, "Now you've signed a NBA athlete, you've designed his shoe, and he's playing in the NBA finals." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, you're right." And obviously he's stating the most obvious thing that I know, but I
Yeah.
don't think I'd really acknowledged and appreciated and sat with. So I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I have, but I'm also busy and focused. And I think sometimes the amount of time that the job prevents me from truly appreciating the present.
Okay. And knowing all this, what motivates you to keep on working,
Mhm.
to keep
Uh,
creating?
I think I was talking about this with someone the other day. I think it's fear. I think, you know, a lot of people that I don't come from poverty, but to give an analogy, that some people that come from poverty and then make it, make it,
Yeah,
the driving force for them is simply not wanting to go back to poverty. And
for
so,
sure. Yeah.
and so in my case, I'm not saying I'm escaping poverty, but I'm escaping being broke, and I'm escaping people not knowing
Yeah.
who I am, or maybe
Yeah.
not wanting the work that I do. So there's always that little insecure, unsure person inside of me that's like, I got to keep working or they're not going to care anymore. And that might be revealing trauma that I don't realize I'm revealing. But either way,
Yeah.
that's what motivates me, along with the fact that I'm doing what I wanted to do as a little kid, right? That is,
Right. Yeah.
I'm having fun. None of this, I would say only 15% of my job is actual work. The rest is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. This happens to me too, because work makes you the person that you want to be, and also you have the fear to revert back to dark places, right? So
Exactly.
yes, I understand it. I wanted to ask you about the book. I wanted to get back to it because is there a design that was in the book, that is in the book, that never saw the light of day, that you wish it got released?
A few. I wouldn't say any of them that I wish got released. There's
Okay.
this one boot that we made with Montclair, because the original, I guess, merchandising plan is that they wanted to do a sneaker or maybe a hiking sneaker and then a boot.
Okay.
We got the two samples, and the boot, the hiking sneaker was great. The boot was good. And this was my first ever ready to wear collection. And I was really trying to maintain a high taste level so that everything was just great. And the boot was not great. It was good. And to most people that have seen it, they think it's perfect, but I hold myself to a high standard, and I didn't think it was worth putting out when we had such a great sneaker. So maybe that's an example of something that's in the book.
Okay.
The majority of the work, it may have made an appearance in my story once or twice, but most people have not seen it. So yeah, and then there's definitely some New Balance colors and some Crocs colors that you haven't seen before. So yeah, there's definitely some sneak peeks of stuff.
Awesome. Something I admire about you, and I have seen it in other interviews that you did, like with Jeff Staple, is that you always knock on doors. You always seek out opportunities. Even with me, you DM me on Instagram, and it's something I really admire. Where does this come from? Is about your character? Is about your personality?
I just think we live in a really interesting time now. You know, when our parents were coming up, they had to open up a big yellow book. I don't know if you guys have yellow or white
Yeah,
pages,
for sure. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like that's how they, networked. That was their
Yeah.
networking. That's crazy. And now, like, we can DM anyone. I've DM'd Obama before. He's never replied, but like I've done it just because I can, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I really take advantage of that. And I've identified two types of people in my life. There are people that have no fear of asking, and then there are people that think they will get laughed out of a room if they ask.
Yeah.
And given that I changed my life with asking, and that's I kind of asked for my Versace job. That was by presenting an opportunity, but in theory,
Yes.
I asked, and I in turn changed my life. I changed the entire trajectory of my career, my life. And so, having experienced that, it's the most obvious proof that putting yourself out there ultimately just brings opportunity. And the worst thing that can happen is no. So
Yes.
life is short, and we only have like small windows of opportunity to capitalize on moments. And so, Instagram, the internet, social media is an amazing tool, and I think it helps us connect with like-minded individuals. I
Yes.
really only fuck with people that are of a similar cloth. I saw a
Yes.
similar cloth in you. Again, fascinating. Don't speak your language, but I saw a similar cloth. You would just say this word, like you'd look at my work and you'd be like, and you would just
I
that is,
feel it. I feel it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
that's something that like transcends language, So I really appreciated that. And so, yeah, the internet's an amazing tool, and I think people are wasting time if they're not using it for the correct. Like most people are just doom scrolling like meaningless shit, but like you could
Yeah.
be reaching out to people that make you feel something or that you want to learn from. And hey, worst case scenario is they don't reply, they say no, and then you move on.
Yes.
So I'm a big believer in that.
That's inspiring, and I think that that's something that will reach a lot of people and will make them will create a better life for them, right? A while ago, I created a video about Virgil Abloh.
Mhm.
I studied his career, and he was like that. He
Mhm.
DM'd every person that he liked his work, and he wanted to collaborate with them, and
Yeah.
that opened a lot of doors for him.
Yeah,
Um,
and I found myself as an indirect student of what he was doing, from how he was moving, flying, being in high fashion rooms, and I
yeah.
think that helped open the door for me to be in those spaces. But furthermore, I would notice how he would reach out to people that he found inspiring, and he would work with them, and it was very casual. And even how he ran his team and all of his projects through WhatsApp, I kind of do something similar with
Okay.
the different projects that I work on in my team. I'm doing a lot of like WhatsApp management and creative direction. So
All
getting
right.
to view how he did things really was inspirational in regards to like what is the design studio of the future. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily only exist in a room. It exists on WhatsApp. It exists within 3D execution. And so I guess I try to just stay at a cutting edge to keep myself as productive and efficient as possible.
Okay. And do you have a relationship with Virgil?
So we all come off of the Kanye tree. I would be lying if I say we were like friends. We
Yeah.
were we were good for like a hard dap and a 5 minute catch up maybe, you know. But at the
Okay.
same
Yeah.
time, I would say that coming off of the Kanye tree, being part of that, I don't know, 8-person alumni,
Yeah.
I think that's what bonds us. You know, there's a good 8 of us that worked with Kanye, have now stepped into the fashion space and created significant moments. And I feel connected to him and Heron and Matthew Williams and Samuel Ross and Ivan and Doncie. And I'm probably forgetting 1 or 2 people because we came off of the Kanye tree.
And what do you think that right now these designers that wear at Yeezy at the moment are the one of the biggest? Why do you think is that?
I think there was a period of time where Kanye was seen as the highest, like the highest level of fashion. Like I really
Yes.
even felt like the high fashion community saw him as higher than. Like he really reached this place where anything he touched or did was seen as like holy,
Yeah.
and anyone that he was in close proximity with was almost seen as knighted. And
Yes. Yeah.
so, and it only existed for maybe a 3 to 5 year period, and then it shifted, right? Now he
Right.
doesn't really keep people around him, but there was a period of time where if you were a creative and you were working with Kanye, you simply through proximity, you were now magical too.
Yeah.
So, I believe there was a level of fiction and nonfiction with that. So because of that, it also created an aura. Every person that worked with him had this aura. And then
Yes.
anyone else that you encountered or tried to work with, they saw the aura because you came from YEEZY. And so I for sure used that to my advantage because my next stop was Versace. And
Yeah.
I would argue it was probably a combination of coming from Kanye and Versace having witnessed what Virgil just did at LV that
Yeah.
made them way more confident in, bringing me on board.
And you knew that in the moment when you were working at Yeezy that you have this aura.
No, no,
No.
not at all. At that time,
Yeah.
again, it was just there was a lot of fear. It was just trying to keep my job. It was yeah, trying to keep him happy, trying to keep
Yeah.
him happy, get work done, and hopefully, like some of this work will get seen by the public one day. And I
Okay.
fortunately, had some models released publicly, and I hang my hat on that. But no, it wasn't about that at all. If anything, maybe I felt that. I remember just maybe thinking like, damn, how did I get a job at Versace? And then thinking like oh, like maybe the Kanye thing. That's more so how we started this conversation of getting to look back on moments and then analyzing them differently. I wasn't thinking about Virgil or Kanye when I got the Versace job. I was just happy to have a job with a paycheck.
Yeah. I understand it. I started my channel because of Yeezy. I became obsessed with the product, and it's funny because everything that I started with has been like expanding, and that's what I asked you about the about Matthew Williams, Virgil, Kanye, and I wanted to ask a final question about it. How do you define your experience at Yeezy?
A necessary stepping stone in my career, my ascending career. I think that that place taught me a lot, that maybe lessons that I didn't realize I was learning in the moment. And then also it worked as an opener of some of the biggest doors that I wouldn't have been able to open without it. Like I
Yeah.
fully believe that I never could have worked at Versace if I was not coming from Yeezy. I don't like
Okay.
many high fashion brands don't really pluck from the sportswear designer pool of designers usually. And I think also for a high fashion brand to see a black man do what Virgil did,
Yeah.
that is unfortunately the proof they needed to. This is speculation, but this is the proof that they needed to feel comfortable hiring someone that looked like myself. So, you know, when you hear things about people breaking down doors or holding them open, like that's exactly what Virgil did for high fashion. You know,
Yeah.
it'd
Yes.
be really cool if I could even you could even see the numbers of like people of color working in the high fashion space pre and post Virgil. I would argue the numbers would there'd be a high contrast.
Yeah. It changed radically, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, as a designer, as an industrial designer, I wanted to ask you a question that I always have in my mind when I talk about this topic is
Mhm.
how do you balance the commercial aspect of creating a product and what you want when you want to express artistically, right? Do you sometimes make sacrifices or do you try to maintain always a balance?
Yeah, exactly. That was how I was going to answer. I think at the end of the day, it's about balance and it's about restraint. I think
Okay.
I see a lot of shoes that are over designed and they probably should have
Yeah.
stopped weeks ago. And
Okay. Yeah.
that's because they did not exercise restraint. Not every piece of real estate on a shoe needs a design line, needs a marking. Sometimes you need to let the shoe breathe, or really any product.
Yeah.
So within what I create, I think the most important thing is doing research on both the product that you're creating and the brand that you're working with. And then from there, it really is exercising a balance of uh, a commercial appeal and then injecting as much art as you can. I think a
Okay.
great example of that is the Versace chain reaction. That was a
Yes.
very even balance of brand heritage along with sneaker DNA, along with a little bit of peacocking, which is like, you know, when a peacock spreads its feathers, everyone looks. And
Yeah.
so from through that, you're now satisfying three audiences, which is the existing Versace audience, the sneaker audience, and then the culture. And
Yeah.
so that shoe did a great job of hitting all of those marks. And without, you know, really sitting down and identifying what those things are, it's hard to hit them.
I feel like your work is really crazy, but in a good way, right? I see this 991 B2 and it has a lot of colors and a lot of textures. So how do you know when a product is done, is finished? Is it a good taste?
I'm a selfish designer. I wish I had like
Okay.
a more poetic answer, but I really just make what I like.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and luckily my audience likes what I make. And
Okay. Yeah.
so um and then with that said, also, you know, my name is on the product, so I feel like I have a little bit more confidence to truly express myself creatively. Whereas with working for a brand, I did have to live within a lot of guidelines and designing for certain consumers, and there's a lot more rules.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's really about identifying what the design issue is and then applying the appropriate level of creative freedom towards it.
And do you like rules? Do you like to be a little constrained or no?
I think they can be helpful because sometimes one of the most intimidating opportunities for a designer to get is a completely blank page of like you got
Yeah.
to make something,
Yeah.
which is what I do often. But sometimes if it's a blank page, but they let me know that they want it to be a boot, okay, it's like something. All right, we
Yeah.
got something.
Right.
Or as they let me know they want it to be like foam or sustainable or just any kind of details that help steer the initiative is always helpful. Sometimes just staring at a white piece of paper and being expected to make the next cool thing is one of the scariest things a designer can encounter.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that the current state of the sneaker industry is really weird. Uh, where do you think the evolution of this is heading? Do you consider hype a relevant factor in a product? I remember that the 1906R, the Hit Be Hot, I remember that they were very limited. Is this an intentional thing, or how does this work? Because I feel like this one wasn't as limited as that one, right?
hmm
Yeah.
Well, two things. This, I mean, the state of the culture. This is my own personal opinion, but I feel like
Yeah.
I've been witnessing uh, the death of hype. I
Yeah.
don't think it's dead, but I think it's dying, and I think interests have shifted. I come from a generation where if it was a mug, like a mug you drink coffee out of, but then you saw some like cause X's or something, you'd be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
know. And
Yes.
now it's just a different day. And so partially that's actually why I'm starting my own footwear brand, because I really feel like um, this story of this this story of exclusion, scarcity, and hype and struggle that we've all been, shooting into our veins for all of these years. I think the consumer is slowly starting to figure it out. And
Yeah.
I come from hype, so I'll always exist in that space somewhat, but I'm just realizing that I don't think I can have all of my eggs in that bucket, because it's not a sustainable business, and I don't think brands are treating collaborations like they used to, and they're very here today, gone tomorrow, and you don't see as many long-term partnerships, and brands
Yeah.
aren't investing in storytelling, and storytelling is some of the most important is one of the most important parts of a collaboration, because that's how the consumer feels it,
Yeah.
and that's how they feel like they're a part of a community. And so, to repeat, hype is not dead. I hope it can be revived, but I've definitely witnessed a shift across the board. I was even in this store in Los Angeles called Riff. It's like a resale. It's probably the biggest resale store in Los Angeles.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was speaking to the owner, and he was letting me know that he was like, yeah, he was like, people don't care about this shit anymore.
Yeah.
And
Business has been horrible. Yeah.
like you hear Goat just closed like 3 European locations. Like there's a shift happening, right? So this is probably a quote I'll say in every interview I'll do, is that you either go with time or you go with time. And
Yeah.
that ultimately means like you either evolve or you die, right? And
Yes.
so my plan is to keep evolving, to remain curious, pun intended, tagline of my brand, to remain curious,
Yeah.
and to just observe the market, and to try to, be nimble, because
Okay.
that's all I can be, So I still will always exist in hype. Hype, is what probably is one of the big major things that inspired me being into this world, right? Supreme will never die, right? For me, when
Right.
I wear Supreme, I'm wearing New York City. So it's funny. Kids these days are like, "Damn, you're wearing Supreme? That's fire!" And I'm like, I'll never stop wearing Supreme, because I'm wearing my fucking home and my heart,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I've definitely witnessed a shift. And then in regards to your question about quantities, I think the larger consumer of sneakers, I think they forget that this is a business. Like, we're not just being like, hey, let's make some shoes and give it to the people.
Yeah.
Everything is intentional. Everything is a decision by both the collaborator or the company, or in some cases by the company, and the collaborator has no say. That depends on who the collaborator is, what your contract says. Like, these
Yeah.
things all waiver. So yeah, I mean, without like sharing too much of the sauce, I think it's important for the audience to understand that like this is a business. All of the
Yeah.
collaborators aren't just like cartoon characters on this TV show you call Instagram. Like
Yeah.
we have careers. We are trying to make money. We are trying to support ourselves and our families and the people around us. And so sometimes people get so wrapped up in the like typing and or that shows my age right there. Sorry, typing.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and they forget that like, yo, like this is my job.
Yeah.
Like, who are you, bro? Like, I don't know you. Like, this is my job. So
Yeah.
I think, the consumer will always be the consumer, and they'll always have their opinion, but they need to remember that like at the end of the day, this is what I do for a living, and we're gonna make decisions to. And when I say we, I mean like all of the collaborators, but we're gonna make decisions to protect our livelihood at the end of the day. And I think that's
sure.
that's been forgotten, because they just see us as like these cartoon characters that are like meant to please them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I was asking about it because I feel like the balance between making it limited and also making money with the product is really hard because if you don't make it limited, connecting it to the hype, sometimes it won't sell out. So the next one won't sell out as well. So it's a problem, right? So
Well, then also,
yeah,
there was recently this story where people were angry because I saw this on Jock Slade's page, but people were angry because the white Jordan Cement 4
yeah,
is sitting on like outlet shelves.
yeah,
And he was like, that's so backwards because we've become so conditioned by this trauma we're supposed to experience within sneakers that if you didn't wait in line or pay a lot of money or get it like in the back of a truck, then it almost doesn't count. And what's crazy is that people are angry about one of probably the best sneakers ever created being accessible.
yeah.
Insane, right?
It's
So now
insane.
that
Yeah.
just shows you how backwards this industry has become and the shift that I think is starting to happen.
Yes, it's complicated because people complain because they can get it, but when they can, they don't buy it. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's contradictory. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about a transcribed version of a conversation with Andre 3000 that is in the book. Um, what did you guys talk about? And also, do you find that hiking is an inspiring place for you? Is a place where you find creativity?
Yeah. So first, I'll answer the second question first. So my
Yeah,
relationship with hiking started when I moved to Los Angeles simply because of proximity.
yeah,
Being from New York City, if I wanted to hike a mountain or a hill, that would be like an entire Saturday.
yeah,
Whereas in Los Angeles, it's a 15-minute drive from my house, and it's the most amazing way to start a day. It's an extremely active way to start the day. And then when spending it with someone or hiking with someone, it's beautiful because you're isolated. There's a common goal. You're both working hard. So naturally, amazing conversation is born from this, and it's never
yeah.
intentional. So I actually started recording some of the conversations that I've done with friends because I might come out with a podcast, different conversation for a different day of that, where it's
Okay.
basically those conversations. Anyway, so for the book, we both wore microphones. We hiked for about 2 hours. We hike often. He's a good friend. And we spoke about a lot of things. I don't think we once spoke about footwear or fashion. I don't think, but it's about a 2 hour conversation about 6 or 7 pages. And we just have really amazing conversations in general, but then even more so when we hike. So I was like, this would be cool for my audience to hear.
Yeah.
And also, I know that including his name on anything increases interest. So I was also very grateful that he was willing to contribute his words because that makes this book that much more legendary, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, without sharing too much, it's about 7 pages, and we're just going back and forth with I'm not interviewing him, he's not interviewing me, we're just talking.
And how did you get to know him?
How did I get to know? Oh, so going back to our previous conversation of reaching out to the people that you feel like have a similar cloth.
Okay.
I reached out to his team. How I got in touch, I forget, because I wanted to work with him for a New Balance campaign.
Okay.
And the team got back to me and they were like, hey, we have good news and we have bad news. The bad news is he doesn't want to do your campaign. The good news is he's a fan of your work and he wants to like meet and blah, 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 blah. So we ended up meeting.
Okay.
A friendship was born from this. And and now he's in my book.
Crazy. That's great. About New Balance, because you said you wanted to meet with him to have him in your New Balance campaign. Which is your favorite New Balance sneaker that you created?
I don't know if I have a favorite because they all of the things in my career have kind of offered me different things and appealed at different moments. But I think if I were to put my like nerd industrial design hat on,
Okay.
it definitely is the yurt because the fact that I was able to introduce something to footwear that's never been done, create a tool for hiking that could actually get someone out of it actually is safety related. It solves a problem. It didn't increase cost. Nor did it really alter the look of the shoe. Like it kind of seamlessly blended into the aesthetic of the shoe. So I'm pretty proud of that one just because it checked a lot of boxes. It felt like kind of like the perfect industrial design project.
Okay.
Right?
I love the white and pink colorway. It's
Oh,
great.
thank you, thank
Um,
you.
and which is the you use the most? Which is the one that you put on the most?
That's tough. I mean, I have
Yeah.
such a large rotation of shoes. I don't know if any of the shoes are shoes
Okay.
that I put on the most.
Yeah.
Living in California, you're often in a car. So, whereas my rotation was in a higher use when I was in New York because I was
Yeah.
in the streets, now I'm just kind of grabbing whatever's closest to the door. So, I don't know if I can answer that necessarily. But
Okay.
one thing that was cool about the year was that I was really trying to break down like every aspect of what I was doing. With my collaboration. So I remember when coloring up those shoes,
Yeah.
I tried to make a shoe skew like a shoe color
Yeah.
for every consumer that I could think of, right? So like the teal one was for like the streetwear kid, and
Yeah.
then the
And
gray one
that was the exclusive, right?
that was exclusive,
Yeah.
and then the gray one was for the traditional New Balance head, and then the
Okay.
pink one was potentially our pink wear or more feminine leaning color,
Yeah.
and then the like green, maroon, navy blue, that was for more the traditional timeless color J. Crew esque person. And
Okay.
then the
The
black
black one.
was for
Yeah.
the like all black wearing fashion person,
Yeah.
right? So I was
Okay.
trying to really like separate the way that I was executing the shoes so I could serve as many people as possible.
All right. Um, I asking about your rotation also makes me think about your outfit, right? So, um, I always see that most of the time you wear these Satoshi Nakamoto pants. I love them, but they haven't dropped, right?
Mhm.
So I wanted to ask you if you can sell me once, if you could sell me once, and also what's the relationship that you have with Satoshi? Because I know that you use a lot of his garments, right?
Yeah, so the owner of Satoshi is a good friend of mine, and it's been really cool to just witness the start, which was essentially just a T-shirt, and to where it is now, where it's probably one of the hottest brands on the market right now, and it
Yeah,
happened in a very short period of time. I want to say 2 years. So A, just really proud to see that growth, and then
I feel
B,
like you put it on.
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
maybe I was one of them for sure. It was
yeah,
group effort, but yeah, one of them for sure. And what was I gonna say? And then I really feel that we're all billboards, all of us, right? And
yeah,
the billboards that we are have different values at different times. And my billboard becomes extremely valuable when I'm at like Fashion Week in Paris or something. So identifying that he needed some billboards and he needed people to champion his brand, I wanted to help him. And then identifying that I've never been styled in my life and I consistently need like new shit to wear for new
yeah,
like moments and events and trips. We kind of have like this symbiotic relationship of I help promote his brand and he makes me things that are bespoke to just me. So all of these pants you see me wearing
yes.
are all like one of one bespoke for me. However, through collaboration and also some of my own apparel initiatives, the pants will be available in the near future.
Great. I will be buying them.
Yeah.
Just let me get them for retail, please.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And how would you say that your personal style has evolved over time?
I really think it's been like refinement. I don't think it's
Okay.
changed too much. And I think you can see that in the book. There are some moments in the earlier parts of the book where I think I was trying to dress like the job I was at. So there's two pictures of me in Kohan where I'm like wearing a button down and I just look like nuts. But that was me trying to be something
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
But now it's really just been refinement. Like I've been like kind of a regular pants chino wearing individual for a very long time. But it started off as just like regular, there's a brand called Standard Issue that has like very generic silhouettes that were perfect for me at a certain time. And
Okay.
then I had a friend tell me like, hey, like your style's great, but I think you need to elevate it. And by elevating it, that can be an elevation of material, that can be an elevation of silhouette and cut. So then I discovered Rick Owens pants. I started wearing Rick Owens, and they were essentially the exact same chino that I was originally wearing. But
Yeah.
now the crotch is a little dropped, and the legs are a
Yes.
little bowed, and they're a little cropped. And it was just a little bit more taste, but it was still exactly my style and not outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Um, and then from there, Satoshi starts, and then I'm like, hey, like, wouldn't it be dope if I took all of these ideas of the pants that I've worn of the past and some of the design lines that you guys work on and like, let's make up the perfect pant for me. And that is the result of what those pants are. I have them in probably like 20 different materials.
Yeah,
And
I saw it. Yeah.
and they're really just like become a uniform piece for me.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
really believe in like the uniform. So like everything has really been the same for easily over 10 years, but it's just been like a refinement of the dialogue.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that your uniform has many colors in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
try
great.
to experiment with colors in my dress and what I create without being like too disruptive. Like I want it to
Okay.
still feel good. Like I think
Yeah.
colors, you can juxtapose colors and it doesn't have to be like scary or loud. You know, you can wear
Yeah.
5 different colors and it doesn't have to be loud. And I try to, explore that way.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on the minimalist design trend that we have right now? In different fields, we have it on interior design, clothing, footwear, cars. What do you think about it? Because I really like Yount. I really like what Justin Saunders creates, and I'm a big fan. But I feel that that's not your way of designing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, trends bother me. I'll never forget the first time I like had to sit in a trend presentation at Cole Haan, and I was just confused by the whole concept of like this lady that's coming in is now telling us what's cool because of what she identified on a trip. Like that to me as a
That
concept,
sucks.
that's
Yeah.
nuts, right?
Yeah.
And also, when it comes to trend, there still had to be someone that did it first, or a few people that were like, you know what, I want to try something new, and then
Yeah.
a few other people tried that new thing, and then a few other, and now it's called a trend. But that first person wasn't following a trend; they were just being creative.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
I really more so believe in the creative side of things, and hopefully, in some instances, the things I've worked on in the past have been bled into a trend.
Yeah.
So I'm often asked about trends, and I never have much to say because I really think it's a strange sheep mentality that I don't care to participate in.
I get it. I create content, and one of the most popular content right now for creators is talking about trends, and I hate it. I hate it.
Mhm.
I fucking hate it. Yeah.
Yeah, because at some point, like if everyone's wearing orange today, there's someone creative that starts wearing blue, and then the trend reporter is gonna like identify that blue and be like, "Wait a minute, blue's next." But it's
Yeah.
like, let's analyze and identify why they started wearing blue.
Yeah.
That's what fascinates me more.
But I feel like it's hard to not participate in trends right now. How do you stay away from it?
Because I don't think I acknowledge them.
Yeah.
Like I know what you're
Okay.
talking about. Like I think I almost want to call them themes over trends. I see
Yeah.
themes,
Yeah.
but because themes are something that are happening on a consistent mass level. Trends are something that are happening and you're supposed to like follow it.
Yeah.
And so that's more so if that's the differentiation is that I see themes and I think the audience always wants something new and fresh. I think
Yeah.
a new idea is way more appealing than like something that's been created by 5 other brands this year. And so the famous Steve Jobs quote is the consumer doesn't know what they want until you show it to them. So I'm more on that chase of like, what can I make that's going to make the consumer want it? And they didn't even realize they wanted it. Like that
Yeah.
crock, for instance, like that's something that the consumer did not know they want until they saw it. And so I'm way more interested in creating newness than I am like identifying a theme.
Okay.
Yeah.
The final question that I wanted to ask you, Salehi, is about what's next, because I see that you have your page beasponge.com, but you change it now for your product, right? So you will have a new silhouettes, new product for that, and SALEHEBEMBURY.com is now for the collaborations.
Yes.
So what's next with Be a Sponge? What we can expect with it, and also talk to me a little bit about Crocs and about Puma.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with Sponge, that has existed as a very experimental, do what I want streetwear brand for the past few years. Make some t-shirts here, make some hoodies there, make some socks.
Okay.
But on October either 13th or 14th of this month, I will be launching my own footwear brand called Sponge.
Yeah.
It will be an always on brand, always available brand. It's not going to be about drops. It's not going to be about hype. There will be collaborations and the collaborations will be hyped, but that won't be the foundation of what this business is. We are trying to compete with the footwear giants, and this is the beginning. So that's awesome. on one hand, and because of that, the Be a Sponge website is now only for sponge initiatives, and then SALEHE BEMBURY collaborations will still continue, and it would be strange to buy a Croc or New Balance product on a sponge site where I'm essentially at a footwear brand. So now all of the collaborative initiatives have shifted over to SALEHEBEMBURY.com, and then sponge will be strictly on Be a Sponge. And then what were your other questions? Crocs. I don't know if I can share yet because we just shot the campaign, but we're releasing another Art Friends Thumbs Up Good Job project. And then for Puma, we are deep in Halle land. So we just launched the Halle 1. We had a physical pop-up in Indiana, and I just started designing the Halle 2, as well as a lot of other initiatives happening at Puma. So yeah, we're pretty busy over there, and we're just trying to both grow the basketball business and also Tyrese's signature program.
I saw the gray colorway yesterday. I was talking about it on stream. It's really good. I know that it's focused on basketball, but you also dropped the Vellum, which is a running sneaker. Why is that?
So the Vellum, truthfully, because I think this is a good story, is signing with Puma and then figuring out that we were going to do basketball, and then realizing that a functional basketball shoe takes about a year to produce. I said to them, hey, we need another moment. We can't start this partnership and then go quiet for an entire year. So the Vellum was the result of this. I was like, let's create a runner. That really doesn't even have much of a story. Let's just make something fucking cool. And I think that's like such a simple statement that a lot of brands don't get to exercise because they're always like targeting a consumer or a trend or whatever. I was like, let's just make something fucking cool. And the Vellum is the result of that, trying to make something fucking cool. So we made a lightweight runner utilizing Puma Nitro foam, and it's so comfortable and so light. And it also just adds to the lineage of silhouettes that Puma both does and doesn't have. You know, I think it's a very strong silhouette that is now just added to the Puma lineage.
All right, I worked at Puma. I was there 2 years ago, and I have a special connection with it. So I love the Vellums and the Halles. I know that you played NBA 2K maybe for many years. So your shoe probably will be there, right? So how does it feel for you? You can play with your shoe, and
it's really cool. I've played NBA 2K since NBA 2K. Like, you know, it's NBA 2K25. Like, I played it since 2K when it was on Dreamcast. So, no, very, very cool. I think just getting to see the shoe in any new environment, digital or tangible, like in reality, is very cool to me because at the end of the day, these are my ideas that are then going to paper, that are then becoming tangible. And now to see where they travel around the world, the campaigns they end up in, the people's feet that they live on, I'm very grateful. And I'm still that like 10-year-old kid that's just excited to be here. So especially when it comes to these basketball projects, because this is like long overdue shit. So no, it feels amazing. It feels amazing. And I'm really excited to just continue to grow this business because Tyrese is an extremely gifted player and I am an extremely gifted designer. And Puma is a company with a lot of experts and a lot of resources to help us bring some beautiful product to life. So stay tuned.
All right, I will stay tuned. And the last one, I didn't ask you about New Balance. What's next?
New Balance. So for New Balance, we just released Fog Be the Cloud, but I only released one of the shoes
2 colorways.
So I still have to release the next one. So I'll leave it at that.
All right. Great. It's been a real pleasure to have you here, Salehe. Thank you very much. Please sell me the Satoshi Nakamoto pants, and and that's it.
Thank you for having me. Let me see if I can leave your audience with some words. If you could take anything from this conversation, I think it's important to remember that if you ask for what you want, nothing horrible will happen to you. No one will laugh at you, and you most likely will be pointed in the right direction. So if there's anyone in your life that you feel can bring you to a destination that you want to reach. Have no shame, ask questions, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
No fucks given, and be great. Go forth and be great.
All right. I like the message, and thank you very much, Salehi.
Of course, bro. Have a good day.
You too.
Later.